All right. Without further ado, we are here. Hold on. There we go. We are here with Mr. DJ Wlsn. Shouts out to Mr. DJ Wlsn. One time in the house. How are you doing tonight, sir?
Good.
Good. Great to have you on
Excited to be here.
Great to have you on Behind the Glass. Thank you so much. And just real quickly, I just wanted to give like a little synopsis of how I came to know Mr. DJ Wlsn. Or DJ Mr. Wlsn. I'm already fucking shit up right in the first second of the show.
Wilson's all the same thing.
So I've been working on an album for a couple of years now. I was working on an album with a producer who shall remain nameless up until February or March of this year when he tried to extort me out of my own music. He tried to force me to pay more money than was originally talked about in order for me to have the music because he could hear it was good music, which is a really shitty thing to do. You should never do that to someone. So basically, I was like in the midst of this album, like basically I had like 40 songs done or something like that, and just poof, it's all gone. No producer. What am I to do? And then I asked my man Clovey, who was editing my YouTube videos for a time. Shouts out to our man Clovey. And he said, I have a friend who has a friend who is a producer. I'll send him your contact info. And ladies and gentlemen, that was none other than DJ Mr Wlsn. So real like out of the blue, I call this guy and I'm like, hey man, how would you feel about producing an entire album for me in the next 2 months? And we fucking did it, which is insane. Like from never having talked to you before, didn't know who you were at all. We like came to a business agreement. You started sending me the work. I started working on the work, recording on it, sent it to John and everything else. And like we have like a finished album now. So first off, before we get into anything else, I just wanted to say, shouts out to DJ Mr Wlsn for coming through and saving the album before it was even released. And this is the shit that goes on behind the scenes. So did I miss anything there?
No, but what's funny about that is my friend reached out to me and said he said I have someone that edits for a company. I think he said it was a company that does social media, and so I didn't even think I was going to talk to an artist, and I reached out to him and he goes, oh yeah, I have someone looking for music, send some beats. And I sent some beats, and then he said I think you liked them, and then we just like got in contact right away and just cut out the middleman right away,
really quickly.
Like within the same hour.
It happens so quickly. I went from like at noon that day, lost my entire album. At like 1 or 2 p.m., I'm like reaching out, trying to figure out something to do. It was like 3 or 4 p.m. I have a new producer with new beats, and I'm working on the album. Like, not even like a 6-hour delay. It was insane, incredible. So yeah. That was insane. How do you feel about how our arrangement started out? Just like we hit the ground at 100 miles an hour from the second that I talked to you.
I remember when I talked to you, we were going really fast. I was on the way to one of my kids' performances at the elementary school. So I was in like a hurry to get out of the house, and we were just chatting it up. Mm-hmm. And then, oh, sorry. No, you're messing me up.
You're good.
But yeah, I just remember we were just talking, and I just sent a bunch of stuff over, and you must have demoed it right away and sent it back. And then that just made me want to send more stuff. So I mean, we sat on we have a bunch of ideas we've been sitting on, and then I just remember going back and forth a few times, and then you gave me some reference tracks to listen to, some specific type of sounds you were looking for, and I just went to cooking, and a lot of it ended up like working out.
Nailed it, I should say. I want to say, dude, you have such a talent. I would send you like 3 reference tracks. I'd be like, make me a song that is the sum of all 3 of these, and you fucking nailed it. Like specifically on the song Too Much that's coming out a week from today. Fucking I sent you 3 tracks, and then you sent me this was your first attempt, and I was like shook. I was like, this is perfect, this is exactly what I needed. Like it was awesome. Fantastic work for sure. So I have some questions here, as we usually do. We're gonna try to get to know you and the work you do a little bit better, and then we're also going to rely on our AI overlords, and we're gonna ask them to get us some questions, and then we're also going to ask that to you. So you're gonna get human questions and artificial intelligent questions, a healthy mix of both. So, the first question is, how did you first get started doing what you're doing?
Ooh, man, very beginning. I've been in love with music since a kid, and I knew I always wanted to be a part of it. I would say it probably goes back to collecting albums and CDs from like Bone Thugs and Harmony to Tupac. To me, later on, learning about Napster and even being part of the whole pirating thing.
Mm.
But instead of just burning CDs to give to friends, I would print the labels, I'd make the covers, and I just fell in love with like the whole process and the whole concept of the booklet and the credits and the team aspect of it. That it was more than just this artist, but it was like a whole team, and there was all these producer credits. And I just knew I wanted to do something with the music. And then one day at work, I was just in the car on my lunch break listening to an artist, and he just said something so profound. I was just like, you know what, I'm gonna sign up today and go to college for engineering and music recording.
Damn.
And I just did it, and then I ended up meeting a good friend, Marquette, in Pro Tools, and he needed help, and I told him I'd help him with his work. And then when the day came, I was so tired. I was like, oh, I forgot I got to meet up and help one of my fellow classmates. And I just remember going, you know what? I told him I was going to help him. I always want to be a man of my word. And if I book something, I want to be able to make it, be on time. Like, that's just how I want to come across and present myself. And when we linked up to help him with the project, man, we had so much in common. I had all my DVDs around my room that were just all music DVDs, concert, like artists, just anything about artists and any time of genre. And he ended up having the same collection, and we just like hit it off. And then he was opening up for the Pack and E40 at the Boardwalk.
Okay.
And and he's like, hey, I need someone to cue up my music for me. And I was like, oh, I'm there. And then the next day, I ended up going out and buying a whole bunch of DJ gear. And I pulled up and I was like, hey, I'm your DJ. Let's do it.
Damn. That's what's up. Call to action.
Yeah.
That's what's up. Okay. Good show. So how long has it been that you've been doing this?
Oh, man. I want to say it was like 06. I signed up to go to college.
Damn.
So 06. So like 08, 09 to 011, like to 2011, we were doing shows all over, to opening up for Snoop Dogg at UC Davis, Tahoe at Mount Blue, doing shows with Tech Nine. I have a whole book of all the tickets and all
That's
the
awesome.
flyers we've done, all the shows, just archived, put away. But this was like before Instagram was a thing. This was when it was Twitter and Flickr, and you had to use Flickr to share your photos before Instagram was even a thing.
Yeah. I remember that time vaguely. I wasn't huge on the Flickr space, I gotta let you know, but I am familiar. There's no E. I remember it's just Flick R.
Oh, Flickr. Yeah, I can't even remember. It was over 15 years ago.
I think it's pronounced Flickr, but I was just saying.
Yeah.
I remember it, but damn, those were the hard times on the internet back in the dial-up days. These kids would know nothing about the dial-up days at all.
Yeah.
And it shows.
But what's fun about those days, we would go to we'd find different local open mics, and then we found one that just started at this cafe. And I remember me and my buddy, we just went down there, and we're like, is everyone going to be back next week? And they were like, yeah, we'll be here next week. And so we took everyone's name down, and we went and made a flyer and put everyone's name on that flyer.
Ah, that's awesome.
And then next thing you know, we had like a spot where everybody would meet once a week. And that lasted probably like 3 or 4 months.
That's awesome.
And what happened was I got to network and meet a lot of people. And since I was in audio engineering and recording, I had a good friend in my class, and I had ties to a couple studios out in Sacramento. And so I'd reach out to the artist and kind of their best song that the crowd would get the reaction to. I'd ask them if they want to get into a real studio and re-record it and see if we can make it sound a little bit more professional than just the home recording. And I ended up doing a whole tape, like a mixtape with all these local acts out of Sacramento. And We did photo shoots. I got the whole thing ready, and then I had a kid. And then a year later I had another kid, and a year later another kid.
Damn,
And
the three-time
yeah,
champ.
and then I took a break for 1 year, and then had my fourth, and that was my daughter.
Champ. Let's go.
Yeah. I got 11, 10, 9, and 7.
Sheesh.
As soon as we got the girl, I got a vasectomy right away. I was like, I'm done. I'm done.
Yeah, I feel that. Damn, the 4-time champ, 4 kids. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That definitely affects your workflow.
So you kind of get back to your question, when I got back into music was, it was kind of like a hiatus in between getting back into music. And it must have been like a 10-year break. And I just remember the kids getting older and things changing. And I started to kind of find a little bit more time for myself. And I wanted to do what I always wanted to do. And so when I got back into the music scene, behold, internet money, YouTube, all the information was out there to sharpen my sword. And I already knew the foundation from college. So when I got on YouTube University, I went crazy.
Yep. Yeah, there's definitely enough content and resources out there where anything you want to learn how to do, you can do it with YouTube, to varying levels of success. And you can only learn like 15% of what you'll need to know. Like, you're going to have to actually like do it to learn a lot of it. But if you want to like start learning about something or like get to like a base level of knowledge, like YouTube has so much content. Like, you can teach yourself anything for sure. So yeah. I definitely agree with that. To get into our next question though, what do you think is the hardest thing about what you do with music?
Finding time with all the noise in my life. I'll sit down and I always make time, even if it's just for a little bit. And I know I don't have time to like make a whole track. I'll just, let me just mess around, bring something up, try something. I might only have 5 minutes. I might get interrupted. There might be yelling in the background. And that's the hardest thing is because when you get in that flow state and it gets interrupted, it does suck.
Yeah,
but
it's hard to get it back. You can't just instantly get it back every time. Yeah, for sure. I definitely feel that. Okay. So kind of along the same lines as that last question, what do you think was the first major setback that you encountered as you started out down this path for music?
Honestly, it'd probably be certain loved ones close to that didn't want to believe in my passion or my journey, thinking it was a waste of time. Dealing with that, pushing through that, and proving otherwise. I'd say that's like really what it comes down to. What the hardest thing is.
Gotcha. And how did you handle that? Like when loved ones, like, because I've definitely experienced this myself, but like when family members are just like straight up opposed to what you're trying to build and your dreams that you're trying to chase, like how do you manage that and where do you go from there? And like how do you handle that?
I just tell myself it's their insecurity, it's their like disbelief, and I know the vision. I know where I want to go, and I know what you put out there and what you work for. You're going to move in that direction, So shoot for the moon, you land with the stars. It's kind of my thinking.
For sure.
But yeah, it can be hard, but you just gotta believe in yourself, because in the end, it doesn't matter what other people think.
Yeah. It's like, for me, I've found it's a mixture of like, you got to believe in yourself that much more to account for like, the people that don't. But it's also, at least for me, it's a balance of like blocking out those noises and just focusing on like believing in your dream, or like people around you that believe in your dream. Like focus on that, like focus on the good. Don't focus on like what's the fucking word? I can't even fucking think right now. If you're trying to do something and someone's restricting you or like pushback, like don't focus on that, whatever that word is. I can't think of it right now.
Yeah,
excellent fucking podcast work by me, if I say so myself. But yeah, it's like you gotta focus all of your energy on the good that you're trying to do and the path that you're trying to walk, and you have to like block out the like the opposing voices, if you will.
Yeah, it's like that's elevator sound in music, you know, like
Mhm.
no, it's not finished.
Yeah.
You know, it's not finished till somebody, I feel like till somebody records on it. You know, unless your intention is to put out a B tape or something.
Yeah,
But
no, for sure.
yeah.
I feel that for sure. So to get on a little bit of a happier question, what was your favorite studio or recording setting memory? The
Ooh.
best time you've had in the
Um,
studio.
best time I had in the studio. Um, my good friend Marquette, artist. He's an artist. Also goes by Cat Daddy. And we flew out to Lexington, Kansas, and recorded at Chapman's studio with the engineer Robert Rebeck, who produced Tech Nine's album Absolute Power.
Okay.
He used to work for Strange Music back in the day, and he stayed in Kansas, and so he was just familiar with that studio and the engineer. And I just remember when he said he was going to, he had it all planned out to just knock out all of his tracks in a few days. So we flew out, and that was like the first time being in such a huge studio that so many artists have been through, to huge country singers, to the huge SSL like $100,000 mixer board,
Yep.
and just getting to sit behind Rob and watch him mix and engineer, it was just so unreal.
That's sick. That's sick. Yeah, it's a crazy feeling when you're in one of those rooms where you know like really talented people have been there, like really talented engineers have worked the boards. Like there's definitely some magic in rooms like that for sure. I would definitely agree.
Yeah, and it's sad to say they it just closed after 44 years.
Damn.
He retired, Chapman. He did sell the business to somebody, but they're redoing the location and moving it, so
Gotcha.
it's new. It's going to be different.
New ownership, yeah. Hopefully it'll be as
Yeah,
great as it was, but you can't just that doesn't just happen, you know what I mean? It takes a lot of
yeah.
hard work. So, okay. And then kind of along the same lines, do you have a favorite project that you've worked on so far? Whether it's like one specific beat or like a beat tape or like a project you've done with an artist, do you have a favorite?
I have a song I produced where I saved up some money and I got some features, and I've yet to put it out. It's a song. I have Potluck on there. They're from Humboldt County.
Mhm.
And then I also have San Quinn from the Bay Area on there as well with Cat Daddy. And I want to say it was like my first decent beat I ever made. But kind of the reason why I never put it out is I wanted to redo the beat now that things have changed. I still have all the verses and stuff, but Potluck hasn't. They kind of had a falling out. I don't really know what happened with that. They kind of went their solo ways.
Gotcha.
So I don't know how they would feel about it coming out like that.
Damn. Yeah, no, I mean,
Yeah,
kind of on the same lines with like what we were talking about earlier is like when you're making music with someone and then the relationship goes sour, it fucks off so much music, so many plays, so many things were probably in motion, you know what I mean? Like this feature with you that you have like with them, and it's like where do you go? Like what do you do? Like do you reach out to them and say like is it cool if I release this? Like do you reach out to both of them? Do you reach out to one of them? Do you reach out to the label? Like it's definitely a sticky situation.
yeah.
So, damn, I definitely feel that. Okay, well, we have that's all the human input that was required for these questions. So now we're gonna get
Okay.
into the part of the interview where we have asked the AI overlords to add some assistance with the asking of the
Yeah.
questions. So the first AI question for you tonight is what unique elements or techniques do you incorporate into your beats that set your work apart from others in the industry?
Ooh. Um. I I feel like I'm finally starting to kind of find my sound.
Mm-hmm.
And it's easy to change up your sound too, because it's good to be experimental and always wanting to learn. But when you, I notice when you kind of find like a good drum kit you like, or particular instruments, you can kind of find your sound in that if you stay consistent with it long enough.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I find myself, I really enjoy making like West Coast and Detroit type beats, which is completely opposite of all the stuff I sent you. Which
Right.
yeah, and I think it's because I think I like making those beats because I like the way it makes me want to move my body. You
Yeah.
know, like the Detroit, it's like fast paced, tempoed, and
Yeah.
sometimes they flip like the '80s stuff.
Mm.
But for stuff I want to put out too, it's like I want to stay away from the samples because it gets tricky too.
It gets a little hectic, yeah, with the sample clearances for sure. So yeah, I would say like the stuff that is in your beat store and the stuff that like is really like that you have out and the work that you did for my album are like, I feel like I really pushed you in a way that you weren't creating like the same like like it didn't just happen. Like you didn't just start sending me like the music that we ended up with. It was like, I don't know. I feel like I pushed you like maybe out of your comfort zone a little bit, but like,
Definitely.
but also I feel like some of your best work was made when you were like out of your element. You're not comfortable. You're not using the same tempos, like the same sounds that you're used to, and I feel like you did a really good job of working out of your element and like being able to create something like really 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 good, even when you weren't used to doing it. So for sure.
I wonder to this day if I made more beats in that way, like how it performed, like do like an A/B test to, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
like to see where my market is or
Mhm.
who's looking at my beats, what
Yeah.
type of artist, because yeah, it's completely two different sounds.
For sure. For sure. I think once the album comes out and once people start, you know, like associating you with the sounds from this album, I think that um I, me personally, I would go for more of those. I think it's definitely like a more commercial and more like generally appealing song. Like you could, it's casting a wider net, I think. Because
Yeah,
there is some people that are going to be looking for like Detroit and West Coast beats, but I think the amount of people looking for beats is bigger than the amount of people that are looking for West Coast
a
beats,
certain genre.
for
Yeah,
sure.
I agree with you. That's been on my mind a lot lately.
That, and I also think like when you're doing something like you have a beat store, I think it's also really good to have a wide like genre selection or feel selection. Because I know like when I was first starting out and I was going through beat stores and like trying to like find something, like it would be pretty easy to see like what the bread and butter of the producer is. Like, oh, okay, they have a lot of songs like this is probably what they like making.
Yeah,
But like for me, I would just like keep going until I like found a song that I liked. I'll shout out the first DJ I ever worked with as Kid Swift, DJ Inhuman, I believe his name was DJ Inhuman. So shout out. I hope you're still out there making music, but yeah, it was like the same thing. I pulled up to his beat store and then I just went through. But he had such a selection. Like he had so many different genres or like moods or sounds or tempos, and I think that was like what sold me when I was an artist looking was like being able to like go to one person because they had so many different styles in the beat store.
yeah.
So
And you know what's funny you say that is because like that's my intentions with the beat store, but then everybody on YouTube, the whole YouTube producer community, and to market on YouTube, everyone's like, you got to find a niche to get the algorithm to work. You
true.
got to build a, and it's kind of like, can we break that mold? You know?
Yeah, I think if you were to make a beat that went off, like either went super viral or you got an artist on it and the song went super viral, I think that you're gonna find success regardless, on YouTube or on your beat store. I think it's a matter. It's like a lottery ticket. Like each song is like a lottery ticket, but if one song hits, then like people you're gonna have so many eyeballs from that one that you can like a portion of those will go over and check out everything else. So I would
Yeah.
encourage you to stay diverse in your sounds, um and like like if you want to say like your niche is like West Coast and Detroit sounds, like for sure like you could be like Mr. Detroit West Coast, but I think that I think just I think you make really good beats, and I think I would just push as many different avenues as you could, um because like like Post Malone was a folk singer before he was a hip hop artist, but he wasn't finding any success in the folk
Yeah.
genre, so he switched to hip hop. Like, is folk probably his favorite thing to make still, like for sure, like probably, right? Like he didn't start off making hip hop, but he also wanted to be very successful, and he realized like, oh, I could be very successful in hip hop. So like, I don't know, just along those lines, I would encourage you to push the envelope, get out of your comfort zone. And I think that if the album that we made together is any indication, you're onto something. You're onto like turning over a new leaf, like the cusp of something. Like, I think you've always made great work, but I think that if you can make anything you do in anything, music or work or whatever, if you could be 1% better every day, just 1%, just a little bit, then after a year of consistency, you're 365% better every year. And so yeah, I think you're doing a great job, and I think that like I'm pushing you out of your comfort zone, and then you're going there and you're succeeding like on the first try. It's not even like try this again. I'm like, damn, bro, you fucking nailed that. So yeah, man,
thank you.
I think you're doing a great job.
Thanks.
This next question kind of ties in with that, but how has technology and software advancements influenced the way you create beats and produce music? Or like, how has that changed over time? Because I know you've been doing this for like close to 20 years.
It's definitely gotten a lot easier. Like, it seems like the software companies have listened to more of the musicians. And so over the years, we've gotten more of the features and shortcuts that kind of help with, speed running through the DAW and doing quick level changes or automation. Like, it's a lot more friendly. When I first started, I was on like Reason, and it was like wiring up the back and doing all the wiring. And now I'm in FL Studios, and it's just it's so fast and user friendly. It's amazing.
Yeah, FL Studios is great. That's where I spent most of my time when I was producing myself. Are you on FL12?
Or like 20, I think they're on 20 something now.
The newest? Oh, okay.
I don't know. It asks me to update it every day, and I've already updated it, so I'm thinking I have to re-update my Windows. I don't know.
Oh my goodness, I feel it. I feel it. Okay. This next question has to do with collaborations. So as a producer, how do you collaborate with artists and producers to ensure your beats complement the overall vision of a song?
Okay, repeat that one more time.
No worries. As a producer, how do you collaborate with artists and producers to ensure your beats complement the overall vision of a song? So what I interpret this to mean is like, you're a producer and you make the beat and you have a vision for that, but then you work with an artist who may have like a different vision. How do you work through that collaboration to maintain the vision you had for the beat originally, while also making room for the vision of the artist that you're working with?
Man, kind of speaking on our situation, I've said it to you, and I keep asking you, is that good? Are you sure you don't want, like, I was like, you don't need anything moved around?
Yeah.
Like, I started getting ideas, like, I can move this around, maybe if I take this out when you say this, like, it'll flow.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just kind of like, you're like, no, it's good. And then I'd kind of take a break from listening to it, and then I go back and listen to it, and I'd be like, no, this is really good, and if you think it's good, maybe I should just let it ride.
Yeah.
But then to speak on that last one, I sent you the stems. I told you I slipped in a little guitar lick. Mm-hmm. And so you can leave it up to you and John to see if you want to put it in somewhere or not, because I started kind of hearing, and I was like, oh, you can kind of do this and this with this.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I didn't want to like step on or intrude on like your vision, because it's your project. I'm happy to be a part of it.
Yeah. Well, I think the reason that I chose to work with you is because like the visions that you have for songs are great before I even touch them. And I think you do that a lot, where you're like, is this good enough? I'm like, brother, I just recorded this, sent this to John, paid for him to mix it. Of course it's good enough. Like, if it's not good enough, we're not getting to this point. Like, I'm not writing to it. I'm not recording this. I'm not sending this out and paying for it. Like, I think you are a lot better than you give yourself credit for. I think that I think self-doubt kills a lot more dreams than failure does. I don't think you've failed yet in like anything that we've done working together. But a lot of times you've doubted yourself. And I think it's natural. It's human nature. But like, I would encourage you, your shit is good, bro. Like, if it sounds good, it is good. Like, people get caught up, is this enough? Is this enough tracks? Is this enough sounds? Enough instruments? If it sounds good, it is good. That's it. Like, it's really that simple.
You know what? You're right, and I do that, but I also let it rock, and I keep pushing forward too, because I know that could be a hindrance, like you're saying.
Yeah. No, for sure.
But I still do that. I still do have that, like, the self talk, you know.
Yeah, because like you're doubting yourself, and then to me, I'm like, brother, this is great. Why do you think this is not good? This is amazing work. You've done an excellent job. Like, you did like I sent you the reference tracks. You like came up with an idea. It was exactly what I was envisioning. I nailed the delivery. Like, boom, this is a great song. And then you're like, are you sure though? I'm like, bro, yes, of course you're great. This is great work. So yeah, I just like, I think you're doing a great job. And I think you're harder on yourself, but a lot of musicians are, or a lot of people just in general, like people that work hard, like they're very hard on themselves, myself included. Yeah. But I think also sometimes you need to recognize, like, I'm cooking. You know what I mean? Let him cook.
Yeah.
Let him cook. I think you're cooking.
Yeah. That's funny.
So this kind of ties into that collaboration question, but how do you strike a balance between staying true to your sound and experimenting with new genres and styles in your beat making process? We've talked a lot about this.
How do I stay true to my sound? I don't know. I was so happy to reference stuff, because it's so easy to get caught in the same drum pattern, you know, the same loop. And so when you introduce these other ideas and concepts to me, I started listening to more music outside of what I like to listen to on the daily. And then I got to remember, like, oh, that's good. I got to take inspiration from other places, so it's not so minute and repetitive. I don't know if that really answered the question or not, but
I think it does to an extent. I think, like, what I was thinking with this question is, like, so I sent you, I'll just tell him it was like Lil Uzi Vert. We were trying to create a Lil Uzi Vert sounding track, and so I sent him 3 Lil Uzi Vert sounds, Lil Uzi Vert songs, like as reference tracks. And he made a beat that sounded very much like a Lil Uzi Vert beat. It was prime. It was perfect. But how did you... I know that you're not like a Lil Uzi Vert type beat producer. Like, this is not your bread and butter. So how did you deliver that so effectively and efficiently? Like, boom. But also, like, what sounds... What are, like, some of the regular sounds that you use in beats, like maybe in your like West Coast or Detroit production, that you brought over to like the Lil Uzi Vert type beat? Was there anything?
Probably like the 808s. I kind of stay between a few of the same drum kits with 808s. Mm-hmm. I have been kind of experimenting going outside, but I noticed I have a few kits that are just like, they're solid for any genre. Like, they're gonna cut through any mix or any melody, or, you know, sometimes you have like 808s where you gotta kind of build like the melody around the 808 if you want it to cut through. But if you use the right 808s, you can make them cut through anything. And then I was kind of inspired to like do more snare rolls and stuff on there, more crashes at the same time the drums hit and stuff. And I felt like it just kind of gave it energy.
Yeah,
like a good bounce and energy throughout the whole.
I would definitely describe that song as having like a lot of energy. You nailed it, and that's exactly what I like. In addition to the reference tracks, I was like, give me a high energy song, and he gave me a high energy Lil Uzi Vert song, bro. Lil Uzi Vert himself wishes that he has that beat, but he doesn't. So, like, I'm saying, bro, you make fire fucking work. So, hats off to you.
Thank you.
I have a question, and this is for any aspiring producers that might be watching. But what advice do you have for emerging beatmakers looking to establish themselves and build a successful career in the competitive music landscape?
There's so much information out there. It could be overwhelming. It could be overload. You could not know what you want your brand to look like, what you want it to be. Just start putting stuff out there and not being afraid to put it out, because you're going to learn and you're going to see how you can pivot, and then you could adjust and you come up with some different ideas. Like, if you go back to my YouTube channel, you could see my branding has changed like 4 times until I've landed on the one I'm kind of set on now. And I think it is like 10 degrees better than the first ideas I started having. And at some point, I probably will pull some of that stuff off because if I go back, it sounds horrible. But I kind of leave it to inspire, or so people could go back and hear like, oh man, this shit's not the same as all this new stuff.
Yeah.
It's like I kind of want to leave it there for the inspiring producer, But then at the same time, I'm like trying to market to musicians and artists. So at some point, I probably will be taking some stuff down. But if I didn't put the stuff out and just experiment with it and try and see what I liked and see what feedback I got, I wouldn't be where I am today with it. So
100%.
you just gotta
go for it.
You just gotta, and nothing's ever going to be perfect. You can't just wait till it's perfect. Otherwise, you won't have anything put out or for anybody to see or hear.
Yeah, you gotta, like, they say this in Adventure Time, but the first thing you have to do in order to be good at something is suck at something. But if you're not willing to suck at something, then you will never, ever be good at something. Because no one is just perfect. No one's just like, oh, and now I'm touring the world on my first album, first song. It just doesn't happen like that. Like, it takes like years, like decades of like showing up every day, doing the work, doing the boring work, the hard work, the work no one wants to do. 100%, I would agree with that. Something to go along with what you were saying. You said that the amount of information available can be overwhelming. And I know that this is something that you and I deal with on a pretty regular basis, even today. Do you wanna spend any time talking about the royalties and trying to enlighten others based on the understanding that we have currently?
Man, I don't know. You left me after today's question looking for more answers.
I feel it. I talked to John about this. I talked to John about this today before the show, and he said that we should talk about it because there's so many people, like me, you and I are studying this, and we can't even fucking figure it out, right? There's a lot of people who are way worse off than where we're at. So, I mean, here, guys. This is gonna be royalties with bobstract.
Okay, I was gonna say I have an idea.
What's up?
Should we maybe try to get one or two people in and have a whole discussion, just a whole segment on royalties?
I would be down to plan that in the future. I don't know the availability of finding two other people, but dude, I'd definitely be down. Anyone that knows anything about royalties, get them on a call and we're gonna fucking figure this shit out.
Yeah, I would love to get my old business music teacher.
Hell yeah!
See if he could even join us.
Oh, that would be sick.
That's who I feel like could answer all the questions.
Yeah.
And I feel like he'd be up for it. He was like, I don't know if he's still there teaching, but he was always outside of class, always helping his students, always wanted to see him succeed.
Let me know.
And
this sounds
let me reach out to him.
Yeah, for sure, dude.
That could be great content.
Yeah. For
upcoming producers, artists. But if you do want to talk about royalties,
just briefly.
I think, briefly. I think when it comes down to it, try to work on the music, because you don't want business to get in the way of vibing out, getting to build a relationship.
That's a good point.
I think that's the first thing. But then to have common ground and just eventually you're gonna have to talk about it. It's a hard conversation, with splits and stuff. But it's just about having that conversation, understanding each other, hearing each other out, and just coming up with an agreement, even if all the paperwork and everything behind it doesn't make sense yet.
Yeah, no, I feel that. Focus on the music, and then, but I was more speaking on like for people that might be watching that have no idea how to collect money from their music at all. Like 101 here. I'll run you through it.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Let's do it.
So, when you release music online, you work with what is called a distributor. The distributor, in this case, we will use DistroKid, a very popular music distributor. The music distributor distributes your music to the DSPs, which are the digital service providers. Digital service providers are Spotify, Apple Music, Tidal, the places that you go to listen to your music. When someone goes and listens to your music on one of those digital service platforms, a small amount of money is generated. Those are called mechanical royalties, and those are one of the royalties you earn from your music. So Spotify will keep track of all of your plays, and then will give you a certain amount of money based on the amount of plays you got, and then they will send that money from the DSP to the distributor, and then you'll collect those through the distributor, and that is mechanical royalties. There's another type of royalty. It's called performance royalties, and these royalties are whenever you perform a song. So this doesn't have anything to do with the distributor, except, so you already have your music distributed. We're going to start there. And now you want to go perform a concert. So what you would do is you would register with a performance rights organization, such as BMI or CSAC or ASCAP. You can choose your team. Once you choose your team, you're going to register the song with that performance right organization. Then you're going to get performance royalties whenever you perform the registered works with the performance rights organization at a concert with the venue that is also registered with the performance rights organization, and then you will get money based on performing. Those are performance royalties. What are the other stuff we could go into? We could go into songwriter credits.
Well, there's not just the composition copyright. There's also the master recording copyright,
right? Which
is separate from the creators of the composition. That is more on who, if it's the artist that is putting up the money to record, it's they own the copyright to the master, or if they're signed to a label, then the label would book the studio time and own the master, with giving the artist percentage. And that copyright also collects royalties and mechanicals and sync that are all different types, from being played on radio, satellite, to if it's in television.
Right.
And so there's a lot of different, and that's only in Northern America.
Right.
Then you have outside of North America.
That's right.
And BMI and ASCAP, they don't collect outside of North America. So now there's a whole lot more to learn and undiscover.
And that's what we were talking about today. And that's when we learned about Song Trust, which Song Trust is able to register your music in 195 countries and then collect the money from those countries that you can't get from BMI or your performance rights organization. This is excellent info to have for people that are making music. And then also there's sync licensing, yet another type of royalty. And these sync licenses are whenever your song is used in video games, movies, TV, radio, anything like that. They pay you what's called a sync license, which basically says that they can use this certain portion of your song at this certain portion in the movie for this amount of money. So that's another type of royalty and another way you can monetize. I feel like that's a pretty good start for today.
Yeah, it was a good explanation. It was a quick breakdown. But when you start to get into it, it does get very complicated.
There's a lot of ducks that you got to get in a row. That's what we'll say. But where?
Hey, fun fact.
Okay.
There's a black box with all the royalties that people haven't collected, and when no one collects it, they give it to the top earners. Did you know that?
What?
Yeah. So the money that doesn't get collected goes in a black box, and then I don't know how long it has to sit there, but after so many years it's not collected, they give it to the top musicians that are performing. Look it up.
What? Is that
check? What's it called? Fact check me.
Is that where?
That's
brother. This would be
Drake.
Terrible news.
Little Uzi and Drake are getting all these musicians money that don't have their business in order correctly.
There's no way.
I'm just picking on them, but look.
The black box refers to a pool of revenue in a collection society where the songwriter and or publisher of songs that have generated revenue cannot be located or traced. These royalties are referred to as black box royalties or unallocated royalties or unclaimed royalties. What? So what happens? 6 to 18 months? Bro! Bruh!
That's a clip.
Bruh, I did 2 million streams in 2019. That was more than 18 months ago. What? Well, that sucks. What? That's fucking terrible. Oh, God. Okay. Well. Listen, only I could provide you this level of service. So I'm glad that you guys saw me come to that realization live on camera. There are such things as black box royalties or unallocated royalties, and if you don't collect those in 6 to 18 months, they will be given to those that are more deserving than you, which is Drake. Excellent, dude. I love the music industry. This is great. All right. All right. I'm just gonna need a moment. No, I'm kidding. I'm fine. No, I appreciate you letting me know. We're gonna be doing some research. Myself, and I later. Anyway, so this next question, and I think this might be our last question, unless we just wanted to open it up to anything that you wanted to say. But how do you handle creative blocks or moments when you feel stuck while making beats? And what strategies do you use to overcome them?
Ooh, I used to get those. Man, if I get stuck on something, I'll just move on to something else. Try to come up with a different idea.
Okay, sure.
If I find myself I'm too tired, if I can't function because I'm tired and I'm fighting it, then if I don't close it up, I'm liable to fall asleep with my laptop in my lap.
Yeah. How many times have you done that?
A few.
That's so like does your wife come in the morning and you're just like, or like how does that end for you?
Well, what I'll do is when I'm making beats and I got the headphones on, if she's trying to sleep and she can't deal with the clicking, then I find myself on the recliner with like the little cup holder. I put like a book, and then I'll just be making music on the recliner with some good content on the background and on the TV, and then
there you go.
It's easy to fall asleep in that position.
I was gonna say, I hear a lot of producers like behind the scenes talk about this, but how important is it to have something, music or movie, playing while you produce, and how much does it affect your final product?
I don't know, because sometimes it'll just be there, and I won't pay attention to it at all. But then sometimes I'll get interested in it, and then I'll have to stop what's playing.
Right. I think so.
But
go ahead.
But I don't know. I haven't watched anything that I think kind of like changed the way I was going to go about something on the production end, because it's not usually production stuff I'm watching in the background.
True. The reason I ask is back when I was producing, there was a guy on YouTube that I followed. His name is Busy Works Beats. And I was consuming lots of his content. Man. What?
It's hard to stay awake watching Busy Work Beats because he doesn't edit his videos. They're very long form and his voice. Yeah.
It's very soothing for sure.
But he was the first one.
Yeah. I think that, but he has a good point where he says that, like, it's, he does a lot of, like, tutorials where he's trying to make something, like, for a specific artist. And so he stresses that, like, he'll change his desktop background to be, like, the cover of one of their albums or, like, a picture from their photo shoot. So, like, he's constantly, like, on one monitor looking at, like, this is what I want the end product to be. Like, this is my intention. And then he said that that's, like, instrumental in allowing him to like really tap in to whatever he's trying to focus on. Like if he was making a Lil Uzi Vert song, then he'd have like a Lil Uzi Vert cover for one of his albums or for one of his monitors and like focusing in on that. Have you ever found anything like that for when you produce?
Not visually, but if I have intentions going in, then it's like something I'm listening to before I go in. Not that I want to like copy it, but that I want to like try to recreate something similar with this, you know, like listening to those little Uzi Vert songs. It kind of gave me an idea. Mm-hmm. Like, okay, high energy. He's using these instruments, these type of drums and rhythms. Let me see what I can put together. So it's more audio for me, I'd say.
Gotcha. Specifically on that, on Too Much, dude, you hit like it's like a steel drum almost sound. Like at the beginning, like whatever instrument that is, it was like perfect. From the first sound I heard, I was like, this is a good beat. Like I knew that you had nailed it. For sure. Is there anything that you wanted to share with us, or is there anything that you're working on that you wanted to talk about, give a little spotlight to?
Yeah, I have an artist out of Sacramento I'm working with. It goes by Quick Serve. We did a song about a year ago called Trampoline.
Okay.
It's like a Larry June type beat, kind of Bay Area esque, bouncy. Um,
What was the name of the
and he
song?
just Trampoline. It's not out yet.
Oh, okay. I was about to
But yeah,
pull it
yeah. Sorry, I
up.
can send it to you. I can send it to you
No, no
later.
worries, no worries. I was just trying to post it in the chat in case people wanted to check it out. Um,
But
do you? Oh yeah, let me link them to your website. That's probably a good idea. You can keep talking while I'm doing this.
yeah, yeah. Pretty much, I met him through his cousin, and we started talking over the phone, and he was kind of messing around in FL Studios, and he sent me some files of something he was playing, and it was just like two simple melodies that he played, and I took those two simple melodies and just threw it on different instruments, stacked it up. I made like a whole '80s like techno Bay Area type beat out of it, and it just goes. And so we always talked about doing something to that. And then he found a different beat on my site that he liked, and I pretty much booked the studio session and told him. He's like, "Yeah, I'm down." And then went to call him again, like, "Hey, I'm here. Are you coming?" And I wasn't getting an answer at all. And then I called his cousin, and he goes, "I'll give him a call." And I guess he fell asleep. I didn't realize he worked the night before, and so but his cousin woke him up, and he shot out to the studio. We got the track done, and then a year went by. Nothing really happened on it. We talked here and there about linking back up, and it's just been hard with time. But after getting to do a project with you and doing it like remote because we're in two different states, it just really lit a fire under my ass to want to like, you know what? If I want more people to rap on my music instead of marketing online, I have people in my community, people that I know that want to work. I just need to find the time.
Yeah.
And so we linked back up, and we got a lot of stuff in the works right now. And you kind of pulled back from you're working on the rollout and stuff. So
yeah, I know.
I got some references. I got your reference track. I got a little playlist going. So I'm gonna come with some live instruments and stuff for you in the future. But right now,
we love to hear that.
I want to follow up with his work and kind of piggyback off of everybody's projects that are coming out. Cross promote.
Yeah, no,
see what can happen.
We so my rollout like is gonna be done next April. So like the album drops next April, and so dude, yeah, I mean, like, I want you to work with whoever. I want you to like make as much stuff in as many genres as possible, so that, like you said, when we come back together to work again, like it's like you fucking just studied abroad in France. You know what I mean, for the summer. You know what I mean, for sure. Like I want to encourage that like completely. Yeah, dude. But I'm super excited to hear Trampoline. I'm super excited to hear Quick Serve, right?
Yeah, Quick Serve.
Sweet.
If you want to find them on socials, it's at Serve Quick, SERVKWIK. You can find them on Instagram. Yeah, I'm kind of taking on like an artist development role too. He's very talented, and I know a lot of like the business stuff with e-commerce and building my own beat business.
Right.
That I'm taking kind of what I've learned over the years and applying it to because I put my beats on DistroKid and I created an artist page and I've done all that. So so I'm taking kind of like the artist development I've done for myself and rolling it into getting him established and building his foundation, so we could come out with a project that's both of us.
Before we go, did you want to talk a little bit about because I know making a beat store was actually something that I tried to do, and it was actually like super difficult, like a lot more difficult than you think. Like if you can basically go with BeatStars and that's it. So do you want to talk about your path or like how that came to be, your store?
Well, I am with BeatStars, but I did get my own domain and moved it over. So it's it's like the beat selling process, everything's automated through BeatStars, but the landing page, it's my own landing page, which is great as a producer because if you send somebody to your BeatStar store, they're going to click on your track, but they're going to get hit with 100,000 other producers.
Yep.
Versus you send them to your homepage and they have full control. And my future plans are to roll out fully into my own page using their pro player. So we'll play the beats through their thing, but I'll be able to blog and do a lot more, which helps with Google SEO.
For sure.
So that's something in the future I have been looking into.
Gotcha.
But for now, it's just a quick landing page. My domain, if you want to check out my B store, is djmrwlsn.com, and that's with no vowels. So it's DJMRWLSN. And you can find me at any social media site as well.
Yep, I got that. I got your website linked in the chat. I also got Surfquick. I found his Instagram, so I went ahead and threw that into the chat as well, in case people wanted to tap in with him. But yeah, man, I think that's about it, unless there's anything that you wanted to say in closing.
No, just thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you for coming on.
That we have a track that didn't make the album that I still think you need to knock out. I won't say which one it is.
It's Burn. I'll say it. It's Burn.
Yeah.
I already know. I already knew exactly what he's on about. Dude, yeah, that's I feel like that's a really good start for the next album. Like, that sounds like something that would be on my next album. And it's like, it's really like a new sound for me too. Yeah, I don't know. You're gonna have to stay tuned. That's gonna be 2025 probably.
You asked me if I produced that, I wouldn't believe you.
It sounds super fresh and super hip, and like, I mean, I would believe that you made it because I think you make good work. I really do. I don't know, man.
I made it and I didn't think anything of it until you put your vocals on it, and I was like, holy shit, I made that. That's like way more than, like, it did something to the instrumental when you put your vocals on it.
I wonder, damn, should we, if I have this on my computer real fast, I might just leak this real fast for the homies one time. Let's see. I don't think I'm gonna have it. Let's see. That was it. That was Burn. I know that you couldn't hear it, Jordan, but I heard it again, and it do be sounding a little bit like a slapper, and also something really new for me, I think.
I think it could hit a lot of people. Like, it'll be relatable.
Yeah, I think so
too.
It
has emotion to it.
I'm an emo boy. What can I say? But that's pretty much it for this week. So I just wanted to say one more time, thank you, super thank you to DJ Mr Wlsn for coming through today on the show Behind the Glass. We'll be back next week, where we'll be talking to someone in the music industry about what they do in the music industry so they can tell us more about the music industry.
All right. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. And we will catch you guys next week. Thank you guys so much for being here.